Hey guys, Synister here at OnPointTactical, and welcome to On the Mind. Now, this week I've been thinking about how to balance the burst weapons. As many of you know, the burst weapons are always less popular than the automatic weapons just because they take more effort, it takes more recoil compensation, and you definitely have to learn them, which a lot of players just don't have the dedication for that. With that being said, there are some advantages, and I've gone over that in previous videos. I'll leave an annotation or a link or something up in the top right to my M16A3 review video, and I talk about what advantages the burst weapons do have. But anyway, I was just thinking about different ways to balance them, and the obvious one would be to lower their first shot recoil multiplier. But I just don't think that that's quite enough. I think that with the fact that the M16A4's barrel is so long compared to the other assault rifles, it should be far more accurate, and I think that another way to balance it out would be to make it way more accurate than the rest of the assault rifles. Not only that, though, make its spread increase per round much lower so that we don't have to worry about that so much. We can land our shots back to back. Now, the first shot multiplier should be lowered from where it's at. It is a little high. But I was also thinking that maybe they should have different, like the muzzle brake and the compensator, for instance, maybe they should have special attributes if they're on burst weapons. It should be like, you know, so much recoil compensation with a penalty of, you know, X amount of accuracy. I think it's about 30% of your accuracy is penalized with automatic fire on weapons with the muzzle brake or the compensator. Well, what say we make the muzzle brake only like 15% less accurate, but it doesn't affect the vertical recoil quite as much as the regular muzzle brake. I just think it could be a really cool idea. I was also thinking that burst weapons should do a little bit more damage. Now, that wouldn't be entirely realistic. However, the M16A4, like I mentioned before, since its barrel is so long, it would have a higher muzzle velocity than most of the assault rifles, and that would in turn make it do a little bit more damage at long range. Now, I'm not talking about like a crazy amount of damage, but maybe take its long range damage from 18 to 20 just to give it a little bit more of an advantage at long range, especially if you get that headshot in there. I think that that could be a really cool way to balance them out, as well as making maybe the grips do something special. Now, obviously the angled grip could be unchanged, but maybe the vertical grip on burst weapons would make their ADS while strafing the exact same as their ADS while standing still. It does help with your strafing ADS accuracy on any weapon, the vertical or ergo grip. But I just think it could be cool if it made their accuracy the same across the board. Basically, what we need to make happen to the burst weapons to make them competitive is just make them more accurate, because then they would just be skill cannons. And while, yes, they are already skill cannons, meaning if you have enough skill and enough dedication to use them, they are quite good. But I want to see more people starting to use them. Now, maybe you wouldn't want to make all these changes happen at once, because that could be blatantly overpowered, but I don't know, I just think it could be cool. But then I was thinking even beyond that, what about just forget about the burst M4, forget about the burst M16, why don't we just bring in the M4A1 and the M16A4? Now, the M4A1 would have to be balanced, and I mean it would have to be balanced extensively, because we don't need that to be the ultimate carbine. If it performed like it did in Battlefield 3, then everyone would use it all the time. But I was thinking maybe because of its shorter barrel, it should have just a little bit more side-to-side wobble than the M16, or make it sort of similar in recoil to the Ace-21, and then make it maybe about the same accuracy, or make its first shot multiplier like 3 if it was automatic. You know, that could be balanced. It would be very similar to the AS Val at that point. So that could be a cool way to balance out the M4A1. But the M16A3, however, we would need to balance it, and I think that the primary way of doing this would be to make its long-range damage a carbine damage model. Now, I just said that the M16's barrel is so much longer it would make it do more damage. Yes, we're not really talking about full-on realism. We're talking about making the M16A3 balanced and work in Battlefield 4, because we all want our M16 back, right? So I was thinking that, yeah, that would be the first and foremost thing to do. Give it a carbine damage model, but maybe give it a really high headshot multiplier. That could be a really cool thing to reward marksmen with the M16A3. And then I was thinking that you could maybe make its long reload time a little bit longer. If you guys have ever held a replica or an actual M16, you know that buttstock sort of gets in the way sometimes. It is a little large and cumbersome. So what if the M16A4's reload, or the M16A3's reload, was instead of 2.37 seconds, what if it was more like 2.8 seconds or something? That could also help balance it out if you just give it... I'd leave the short reload time at the 1.8, but make the long reload time a little bit longer, maybe comparable to an AK. That could be another way of balancing that out. So then, even beyond that, I was thinking that the FAMAS needs to be dealt with. At this point, if you have really good recoil compensation, you can use it. But the problem comes in the form of a 25-round magazine. Now, they've already nerfed it to oblivion as far as recoil and accuracy, so I think that giving it a 30-round magazine would make it worth it to those of us that really miss using the FAMAS. But then, it just, in the long run, it wouldn't make it blatantly overpowered or anything. It would just make it a lot more easy to use and get multi-kills with, because you have to be very, very accurate at 1,000 rounds a minute. Now, I was also thinking that the AEK-971 could use a small reduction in its vertical recoil, but right now all we're talking about is making good weapons better. So then I was thinking about some weapons that need some help, and instantly the CZ-805 came to mind. It's a very cool looking gun, and I wish that I liked it. Now, we've already proven that rate of fire on weapons can change, because we just saw the L85 get a nerf to its rate of fire from 800 to 750. What if we took the CZ-805 up to 750 also? That way we would have 3 different assault rifles running at about the same rate of fire, but they would all have something a little bit different to offer up. That could be a really cool way to balance that out. So, I hope that you guys have enjoyed me ranting and raving sort of at DICE about different balancing changes that we could make. I was just thinking about a way to make burst weapons better and to make the M16A3 work in Battlefield 4, because as many of you know, I miss my automatic M16. Even if it wouldn't be that great, it's just that aesthetic difference of having an M16 versus a 416 or an Ace-23. I would just love to have an automatic M16. So, anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'm Synister here at OnPointTactical. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope to see all of you on the battlefield.